Hi, welcome to Escape Motorhomes. My name's Andy, and today we're going to run you through Laura Mary, which is our Citroen Relay conversion. This is the van you'll be hiring, and the purpose of the video today is just to get you familiar with it prior to your handover. So we're going to start on the outside of the van, and coming down, the first thing we have on this side is your hookup. This is for the 240 volt, so if you're on a hookup or a campsite, you will need this. The van is equipped with a 20 meter hookup cable. You just lift that up. There's only one way that she'll go in, so that's the female end which goes in there. Just push it in, straight to the back, and she's done. All you need to do then is plug that into the opposite side. Make sure the trip meter is on the campsite, because sometimes they leave the trip up, and you're good to go. You've then got 240 volts inside the van. When you want to unhook, just the reverse of what we've done before, there's a little blue lever here which you need to just push down and pull out, and then just make sure that that is clipped to before you set off. So that's your 240 volt hookup. Coming back here, this is your gas outlet for the water heater. The water heater works off electric and gas. However, if you're off grid, you would have to use it on gas. And this is the outlet. So this is the exhaust for the gas, but it also draws in oxygen. So we need, before we can switch the heater on inside the van, which I'll show you in a few seconds, we need to remove this cap, otherwise it won't work and it will show an error fault in the van, and that would mean a red light coming on. So before you put the water heater on, if you're using gas and you're off grid, you simply just pop your hand on the top of that and just pull that forward, and then just put this in the cab somewhere, because you're not going to be needing this until you're ready to go again. And as you can see, your exhaust outlet now is free to draw in oxygen and let the exhaust out. So once you put the heater on inside, it will run fine and you'll get no error codes. I'll go through the heater once we're inside the van. So once you've finished with that and you're ready to go again, or if you're going onto a hookup, then you would use the electric, which again I'll show you when we're inside. You simply just pop the cover back on. There is a knack to it. You just need to push that. There's two little eyelets there. You just need to make sure they line up with that. Just put a little bit of pressure on there, not too much, and just make sure it clips in. You have to hear that clip. If it doesn't clip and you drive off, it could just fly off and you've lost it then. So just make sure that clips in solidly. So coming back here, we have the wastewater outlet. So the van is equipped with a wastewater hog, which is a 12 litre hog. So basically, once you're on site and once you've got your pitch and you're set up, you simply bring out the hog, unscrew that. This just then clips into there, and then you pop that end into there and just rest that underneath, and she's good to go. So all your wastewater from your shower and your sink will be collected into this hog. You'll see when it's full, it will start to rim around here. At that point, you do need to empty it, and you will find on site there will be places where you can deposit the grey waste. Don't let it back up, because if it's too full and you leave it, when you use the sink again, the water will back up and it'll come out in the shower. It's got to go somewhere. If it can't come out here, chances are it'll come back into the van. So you need to keep an eye on that, and maybe every day or so just make sure it's not full. If it is full, empty it immediately. Once you're finished with it, again, the reverse, make sure it's empty, pull that off. This screws that back onto there, and then that just houses in the back of the van when you're ready to go. Coming back here now to this side, we have a on-water, freshwater 80 litre tank, and this is the inlet for the water. It's a little bit like a fuel cap. Push and turn, off it comes. Oops. We then we supply you with a 10 meter hose, so obviously that goes into there, and then that would just hook up onto the tap on the site that you're on. There are a couple of other connections in there because every site has a different connection, so we've tried to cover all bases. So you will find, and I'll show you where they're kept, you will find different attachments according to whichever attachment is on the site. Once you've set that up and the water's moving in, it takes about 10 minutes to fill. It is an 80-litre tank, so it does take quite a while, so don't worry. And as soon as it is full, you'll see water start to back up and trickle out of here. At that point, obviously, you just take the water pipe out, and she's full. And that should last you, a full tank should last you about 2 days. That's including a couple of showers in the morning and washing a few pots and pans and stuff like that in the afternoon. We always send the van out full, so at least when you get on site you know that that's good to last you for at least 2 days. Once you've got the tank full, obviously just put the kit cap back on, make sure you don't leave it, and make sure it is pushed in and turned tightly so it doesn't come out when you drive off. And that's your fresh water. I'll show you where this is housed as we go around the van. Towards the back of the van, this is where you will keep your hose. Also our electric cable is kept in here, and the waste hog, when you're not using it, is also kept in here. There's also storage under here. There's a little brush and pan set there, but you can put what you want in there. You can put clothes, hiking boots, put the dog in there if you want. But that's plenty of storage under there, and you've got just a little bit of storage under there. Obviously the water tank there takes up quite a bit, so there's not as much storage in this side as you have in the passenger side. Okay, coming around this side of the van, this is your gas outlet for the oven and also the fridge. So pretty straightforward that. When you're actually setting the oven off, you don't make sure the door doesn't cover it too much, just let a little bit in. But once the oven's up and running and the oxygen's flowing and the gas is flowing, it will be fine, so you've no need to worry about that. This is your side door, just a simple pull, push back, and you'll hear it just click in and it locks, so you've got that locked. If it starts to move forward, that's a good indication that you're on a slope, either backwards or forwards. If it rolls back, you're on a backward slope, forward on a forward slope. To compensate for that, which I've just put around here, I'll bring them around. To compensate for any slope that you're on, we have 2 blocks here which you simply put under the wheels of wherever the slope is to balance it up. So you've just got to use your eye just to see whether, if the slope's going that way, you will put that under the front wheel, under that front wheel, and just drive up onto them, and that will level your van up a lot better than it would be prior to that. Okay, so that's that. We do have a little spirit level inside the van as well, so you can really get technical with it and make sure it's absolutely level if you want to. It's quite important to get it as level as you can. The main reason is your shower, when you have a shower, if it's facing backwards, obviously the water is just going to run to the back and it's not going to get down the plug, so you need to get it as level as you can. Also the same with the sink as well, the water's not going to get down the plug hole if it's too much of a slope. So just bear that in mind when you park up on your pitch. Try and look for a level piece of ground. Okay, just going back on this side, we have the garage bit. So in here we keep 1 or 2 bits, a couple of safety triangles there if you ever break down, hopefully you won't. We also keep in here chemical blue. This is for your toilet cassette. If you've never camped before, you just need a cup full of this, and I'll show you how to do it when we get the cassette out. And it just takes the smell away, and it kills a lot of the bacteria, so it makes life a bit more pleasant in the van. We supply you with a full can of that, which will should last you the full trip unless you're doing a full month, but that'll last at least 2 weeks. So here we have a gas. It's a 6 kilogram propane gas bottle. It is full when you take the van. It should last well over a week, depending on how you use it, of course. But yeah, we've had these have lasted. We had one last 3 weeks, and they were using it every day to cook. So they are really good, very economical. I'll show you how. Should you run out, and hopefully you won't. If you do, to change the bottle, you need to take the bottle off. You need to find somewhere that sells Caligas, and you'll swap the gas. So you'll take the empty, and they will give you a full one back. That's how it works. They won't give you a full bottle without presenting them with an empty bottle. So just bear that in mind. Most campsites sell Caligas, and a lot of garages, particularly in the Lake District or you're up Scotland, a lot of garages sell it as well. You can go online as well and just find out where the nearest supplier of Caligas is as well. So it's propane, so it's always the red bottle, and like I say, it's 6 kilograms. To take it off, we have a little strap here, a little safety strap which keeps it locked in, and you simply just pull it forward. It's a little bit, it's obviously quite heavy now because it's full. So you just, all you do is once you've got it down, this is the pipe, and you just turn this. It turns the opposite way than you normally would, so you would normally tighten it up by doing it this way, but this is the opposite way, so that is now untightening it. So to tighten it, you go that way, which is anti-clockwise, and you tighten that as tight as you can, and make sure there's no hissing or smelly gas coming out of there. So that's really tight now. On the top here, you've got an on-off valve. It says open, and it shows you an arrow, so it is actually open now. When you're actually driving, you need to close this. This is a safety requirement that you shut the gas off. There's 2 ways of shutting the gas off. One of them is to close this completely, so you can see there it's going that way to open and the other way to close. So you just go that way and you just turn as far as you can go. And then you can also turn it off here, which will stop gas coming into the van. This is a shut-off valve. It stops any gas coming to the oven or anywhere else in the van. When it's going that way, that's the flow of the gas. That's telling you it's on. And to shut it off, just imagine this is a gate shutting it off. So you just turn that down, and that's put a gate down there, across there, stopping any gas getting in. So those are your 2 safety issues every time that you're driving the vehicle. Of course, once you've got on site, you must remember then you've got to come outside and do the opposite and turn everything on. Otherwise, you'll get no gas and no heating. So just remember that if you try to put your gas on and nothing's happening, chances are you've not switched it back on at this side. So you need to do both. You need to turn that back on, and then you need to make sure this one here is horizontal. So we'll pop the gas bottle back. Just watch your fingers because it's a bit tight. But that just sits in there snugly, and then you've got your little safety harness here, which just keeps the bottle, stops it moving about, and that's all you need to do. And that's it for the garage bit. Once you've done all that, simply shut the door, turn that so it doesn't open, and you're good to go. Coming down here, we have a little step. At the moment it's in and it's locked. You need to just, under here there's a little catch there, you can hear it. You need to push that up and pull the step out, and it's locked now, so you can use that just to get in and out of the van. Once you're ready to go, always remember you need to put that back. So it's the opposite of what we've just done. Lift that up, push it back, let it go, and it's locked. But just remember, always put that in before you travel. Also be mindful that step is quite low, as you can see. So if you see any uneven bits of land, if you see any sort of what they call them, the sleeping policeman, just go very slowly, because if there's too much of a bump, you can take that step off. We've had a couple where they've not anticipated the bump, they took the step right off, and probably about £200 to fit a new one. So just be mindful of that. It shouldn't be a problem. Most campsites are very even. It's more when you're off grid, just be careful. On this side we have the fuel. So it's diesel. It can't open unless you've got the ignition key, so when you come out to fill up, just remember to bring your ignition key out the cab with you. and that just turns in and the cap will come off, and then it won't go back on until you put it back on and pull the key out. You probably notice here this is blue. This is for AdBlue. This is a chemical that cleans the diesel, and it was a government requirement on these vans. We actually fill it up with AdBlue, so you shouldn't have any problems. However, if you're doing a lot of mileage and you're doing a lot of steep mileage and you're going into mountain regions, sometimes the AdBlue light can come on. Our advice is just run the van for about 10 to 15 miles. If it doesn't go off and stays on, then you need to put some more AdBlue in. Every garage sells them. You can get them in 5 litres and 15 litres. So you probably only need about 5 litres if it's got a bit low. To be honest, everybody who takes this van, if they've got it we've had people with it for 3 weeks and they've not needed any AdBlue at all, because we fill them up before you go. So you should be fine. But just in case that AdBlue light comes on the dash, you know what that's all about. If you've any problems with that, please don't hesitate. Just give us a call and we'll run you through it again. So there we are. On this side, just to let you know where the bonnet release is. So we're in the cab section now. This is your bonnet release. Some people find it difficult to find because this door is shut and it's usually hidden. So you know to open the passenger door. There it is. Just pull it towards you, and that's now released and the bonnet's open. You shouldn't need to go in there. However, if you run out of screen, to screen wash to clean the screen, then you would need to go under there. And I'll show you now. Ellen, if you just follow me around, I'll show you where the screen wash is. So we just put that up there to secure it. These are all your fluids. All the fluids are topped up. You should not need to touch these. Oil's topped up, everything is topped up before they go out. We make sure of that. But sometimes you use a lot of screen wash, particularly in summer. There's a lot of flies and so on. Just to let you know, the screen wash refill bottle is just in here. They're always a bit tricky to get to, but that's where it is. That holds quite a lot. You shouldn't need to fill it, but in case you do, at least you know where it is now. So once you've filled it, just make sure that's back on. Just clicks in and it's back on, and that's it. You shouldn't really need to come under here. Okay, so that pretty much concludes outside of the van. What we're going to do now is show you the inside of the van. You stopped it? No. Right, okay, this is the cab. What we've got here in the cab, we've got a 6-speed gearbox, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Most cars these days have 6-speed. On the second stalk here, I don't know if you can see that. This here is your cruise control. So that's very self-explanatory to work. Once you're in the van and it's running, you simply just switch it on by turning the barrel, and then you set your speed at which you want to go at. And when you finish, if you don't want to use it, just switch it off. You've got all your other controls here. Your lights are on there, your indicators, your windscreen wipers are on the other stalk. This is your 6-speed box. This is your information center, which is Bluetooth, so it'll hook up to your phone. I can turn it on there just to show you. It's got preset radio stations. You've also got a CD player there, if anybody's got CDs these days, which I don't think you have. But it will play your Spotify music through the auxiliary USB port, which is down here. So if you wanted to play, you could either Bluetooth it to your phone, play your music that way, or you could use the auxiliary there. You could do it either way. Most people run the sat-nav through their phones. We've got a little phone holder there to hold your phone. There isn't sat-nav in this, but because there are more superior ones on most people's smartphones, so you'll just have to work that one. If you've got Waze or Google Maps or Apple, you can use that. We've got 2 captain seats here up at the front. At the moment they're facing the correct way and they're locked. However, you can turn these round. If you just come down here, you will see we've got a little orange lever there. You just pull that up and you just turn. Sometimes you need to push it forward a bit just to get it round so it clears here. But you just keep turning until you've got it in the position you want it in. So this gives you a nice comfortable area to sit down. You can sit here, you can see out of the doors, you can see out of the back doors. You've got a little table here as well, so you want to put your coffee there and just enjoy the view. Also, the passengers, that's one thing you will get used to, banging your head on there like I've just done. It does happen a lot. That's camper van life. So you just, same thing, you've got a little orange button here which you just push up, spin it round, and you can enjoy, you've got your dining table here, and you can enjoy a nice coffee or whatever. And you can keep these permanently round if you're sat on site, you're there for a few days. Most people just keep these round, it gives you a bit more space in the cab here. So what I'll do now, I'll go through the essentials that you need for heating, hot water, and your hob for when you want to make warm a pan up or make a brew with the kettle. So I'll show you now, going from this side. So we'll start at the front. This is your main control panel. As you can see, it's in the off position now. Although it says car, that's technically off. Even in the center, it's off. And you can see it's off by the needle. This needle tells you how much battery power you've got in the leisure batteries. So at the moment we've got it off, so it's showing its way down there. As soon as you switch that on, it shoots over into the green. I'll just switch that on off because I'll show you what these are. So it's in the green now, and that's telling us that the batteries are fully charged. They're charged from a 200 watt solar panel which is on the roof. And so they're permanent, while it's sunlight, they're permanently getting charged. They also, the leisure batteries are charged when you're driving, because we've got a split charge from the alternator. So you're charging it two ways, from the sun and from whilst you're driving from the alternator. So the batteries are always topped up. And as you can see there, whilst that's in the green, you know that's great. If it starts to go into the yellow, that's telling you the batteries are starting to deplete a little bit. And that usually happens at night time. Well, obviously the sun's gone in, so the solar's not working. But you're still good to go with that. You've still got a lot of power left even in the yellow. However, if it moves into the red, simply just start the engine and just run it for 20 minutes and it will charge the batteries back up. But most people never get to that. The batteries really do last a long time on this van. And if you're on a hookup, then that's even better because that's being charged from the hookup as well. So your battery will never deplete. So this is your main control panel, as I said earlier. So at the moment, that's off. Switch it down to van, it comes on. And here we've got three controls. The first one, quite a crucial one, that's your water pump. And you do need that on if you need any water in the van, if you need water to flush the toilet, to use the shower, or to use the sink. And it also pumps water into the hot water tank as well. It has a separate tank to hold hot water, and of course that needs to be full every time you use it. So every time you use hot water, the pump will pump water into there to keep that tank full. So just keep an eye on that. That's so we've got everything on here. This one is for your lights. So we've got lights all over this van inside. These are your internal lights, not your outside lights. So we've got lights, for example, under here. You probably won't see them in the daylight, but these are all just touch and then touch to go off. We've got a light here, which is 3 settings. It's got a blue mood light, it's got a dimmable light, and then it's got a brighter light if you want some really light, if you want a disco. And then just third one is off. You've got another light under here as well. Again, just run your hand across that, it'll come on, run it across again, and it'll go off. Very simple. And then finally, towards the back of the van, we've got 4 lights under here. You can have them all on simultaneously, or just 1 or 2 on, so it's up to you. Same on this side. You've got 2 lights there, and you can turn those off individually, or if you're exiting the van, you can just turn the light switch off and every light in the van will go off. So you're not going to waste any battery. So as long as you remember to turn the main panel off, the lights will go off. Also you've got a TV back here. Eleanor's just pointing out there. This also runs off the light switch. So the light button at the front, which I just showed you on the panel, that has to be down for the TV to work. You don't have to have the lights on. The lights don't need to be on, but that light switch needs to be on for this TV to work because it runs off the same feed. So just be mindful of that. If you find this isn't working, chances are your light button at the front isn't switched on. And the TV is pretty standard remote. You'll work that out quite simply. There's your on off, and then all the rest are channel up and down, volume, and etc. So we'll show you that on the day as well, so don't worry about that. It's dead easy to tune in. Just moving forward again. We're gonna go now to these two controls here are purely for your water heater, and this will give you hot water. So if you're on a hookup, i.e. you've got electricity coming into the van from the campsite, you don't need to bother about this one. You only need to use the electric one. It says EL, meaning electric, and all you need to do is simply push that button down and it will start to heat the water up. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes and you've got lovely hot water. It's quite hot, so be careful. I think it runs at about 40-50 degrees, so just be careful. There's a mixer tap, make sure you've mixed it so you've got a bit of cold in there. Excuse me, got a bit of cold in there. So that is if you're on a hookup. However, if you're off grid and you don't have any 240 volt coming in, this is the one you use, and this is the gas one. There's a little notice there, and if you remember, so now we know that the gas is switched on. We know the exhaust cap has been taken off on the outside. We can just do a double check to see that gas is coming through by switching on one of the hobs. Now to do that, you do need this auxiliary switch here. Now the auxiliary switch this brings power into the van from the hookup side. So if you want 240 volt sockets to be working, plus your electronic ignition on the oven, you need this auxiliary switch switched on. That's your final switch on that panel. So we've got all the switches on now, all doing the various functions. So all we're doing now is testing that the gas is coming through. So we simply test any one of the hob rings. You simply push that button in and turn, press the ignition. As you can see, that jet's now lit, so we now know gas is coming through. So at this point we can switch that off because we're not using it, and we can go back to the panel here. So this, as I said earlier, this is just when you're off grid. So this is the gas that heats up the boiler, and all we need to do now we've done those checks, we know gas is coming through, press that and then just wait for a click. There's a click just there, that's telling me that the gas has ignited and it's now heating the water up. Stay by this just for a minute, because sometimes it gives a false reading. It does that click to tell you that it's ignited, but it hasn't quite got enough oxygen and it shuts off, and it's actually done it there. As you can see, a red light's come on. Now that's telling us the gas isn't coming through. Sometimes happens that, and I'm glad it's happened now for me to show you. So simply switch that back off. And what I do now, if we ever get that, you won't get it all the time, it's just occasionally, I would then switch the hob back on, any one of the jets, and just leave it, maybe 2 jets, just leave it for a few seconds till it's drawing gas through the pipes. And now we know we've got a good flow, we can try and attempt to restart the boiler again. So oh, did we put the cap back on? I've got a funny feeling we put the cap back on. Let me just, this is where you can go wrong. So I'll just check that it's off. So that is a great classic, which can happen even to the experienced ones of us. Obviously when I was doing the demonstration, I put the cap back on, forgot I'd put it back on, thought it was off, and of course it's shown up an error. So now we've gone back outside the van, I've taken the cap off, we switch this button on, we wait for the click, there it's just clicked in. I can switch these off now because I know the gas is coming through. And just wait a few seconds, hopefully that red light won't come on again, and it hasn't. So that's telling me now that the gas has ignited correctly and the water is heating up now. It has a thermostat built into the tank, so this will reach 50 degrees and it will shut off. Then when it starts to drop below 50 degrees, gets to about 40, maybe 35, it will kick back in unless you turn it off completely. So we're going to leave that on. That's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to warm the water up. It is set at 50 degrees, so please, when you do use the sink or the shower, use the mixer tap and bring some cold water with it, because if you just have it purely on hot, it will scald you. It's very, very hot. So that is just to warn you of that. So just be very mindful of that, and just test the water before you put your hand fully under. So we'll leave that now. That's just doing its thing. It's on and it's working fine, and it's heating up the water as we speak. So I'll bring you back through the van here. We have a 240 volt socket here. We also have 2 USB charging ports for your laptops or your telephone, your mobile phones. So that's quite simple. These only work when you're on a hookup. Obviously, there's no 240 volts in the van when you're off grid. So you'd have to rely on 12 volts. A lot of the other things work off 12 volts, so you're fine. The TV works off 12 volts, so you're fine with that. And then the rest of the things, you would, like the gas oven, they only work off gas. So you can go off grid, but you can't use 240 volts. So coming back here, just to quickly show you around the van. Eleanor's going to come around with the phone now. As you can see, space is quite minimal in the van. But in here we've got an array of things to help you, from coffee, sugar, we've got some cups, wine glasses, tea towels, and right at the bottom there's bin liners and things like that. So there's quite a lot of things that you would need are all there, already supplied with the van. We have another storage section here, which we've got pans and a kettle, which you would use for the hob. So it's not an electric one, that's purely a gas one, and it's got a little whistle on there to tell you when it's boiling. Coming up, we've got the oven. Now this is a two-way oven. It can be just an oven to warm things or cook things, but it also has a top grill if you want to make some toast or put some bacon under the grill. There's a grill pan in there where the pans are kept as well, which just slides into that. To work it, these are your controls for the oven and the grill. The big one there is telling you that's for the main space, so that's for the oven. So you would just turn that back, just hold it a few seconds, click that, which is the ignition, and you can see, I don't know if I can get the phone in there, you can see that's lit now. And then on the other side you've got the grill, click, and that's up at the top, so you can see the reflection as well in the bottom there. So that's your grill, and then just switch them off. And then it's the same principle for your top hob. You've got 3 burners, 2 small ones and a larger one. We tend to use the larger one more, it heats everything up quicker. And it's the same principle as the oven. Push in, turn, just hold for a few seconds, click, and then you can adjust accordingly to whatever height you want it at. I just turned it off there, but you can come right down, so you just want to simmer, or you've got it up there for full power. One crucial thing to remember about this hob bit is when you've used it, before you put this lid down, just let it cool down for 20 minutes. If you put it down, it's too hot, or if you put it down, we have had one customer put it down, he forgot to turn the flame out and it just shattered it. They are heat proof to a certain extent, but if you leave a burner on or you put it down too quickly, it can shatter them. So just leave that up for 20 minutes or so till it all cools down, and then you can shut it too. On the side panel here, we've got 2 more 3-pin sockets for you on 240 volts. There's also the old-fashioned cigar lighter there if you've got anything that works off a cigar lighter, or you can they do a little cigar lighter USB port now, which you can put in there, which we supply at the front of the van. So when you're not driving the van, you can move that out there and just pop it in there. You want some extra charging ports. Coming down here, we've got magnetic cutlery on here, and now the rest of your cutlery is housed at the top. So I'll just get that down for you. So we have it neatly stored away. So you've got all your cutlery in there, got all your knives, forks, steak knives if you want a bit of steak, and you've got your corkscrew. So hopefully there's everything you need, scissors, everything you need's in there. Okay, Eleanor's just rearranging them there, because I've obviously put them in the wrong place. So we'll show that too. That just clips on there to hold it in, and that's simply housed up here. We also have a portable table housed up here as well, if you want to eat outside, if the weather's lovely like it is today. This all is all to just foldable. It's self-explanatory, it all folds out. And then your tabletop is also housed up here. So that's your tabletop, which simply just sits on there, and you can see the holes. So it's quite simple to put to. It's very lightweight, but it just gives you that option to eat outside if you want to, and on a nice sunny day. It all just folds up nicely, and then that just clips in. Just place it in there, and it's out of the way. It's got quite a long way back there, so you've plenty of room. Okay, so that's all that. Whilst we're still in this area, I'll show you the with two skylights, one at the front, one at the back. You can open these if you want a bit of extra ventilation. I think Emma's just trying to position herself there. We'll do that little waltz. So you can open these into two settings. So if you just want a little bit of ventilation, whoops, that goes on that one there, and you can see it's only slightly open. However, if it's a really scorcher and you want it right open, just push it back and that's completely open. If it's on a day like today where there is a chance there's a lot of flies about, you've got a fly screen there which will stop them coming in. At night time, you've got a blackout blind on the opposite side, and that will shut out any light. And it is advisable to shut that at night just in case it rains, because it will come in. So to shut it, you have to make sure it just slides back, and then this bit here, this bar has to go right above it. If it's slightly on it or just below it, it won't shut properly and rain will come in. So please do make sure that's shut tightly over this bit here, as you can see it is now. So that's your skylight. In this corner here, Eleanor can just turn around there, we have a smoke alarm. And then in the centre of the van, just further down, we have a dual alarm. It's a smoke alarm and a carbon monoxide. Both have got new batteries in, both are tested and are fully working. And we've also got a fire extinguisher here in the event of a fire, which we hope you don't have. This cupboard here houses, we've got an electric toaster for when you're on a hookup. That's a 240 volt. We have this ingenious little pop-up electric kettle. If you are on a hookup, I always suggest use everything electrical. Don't waste any gas, because you're already paying for the electric, so you might as well use theirs rather than your gas. So this little kettle just pops up. You've got a little top there, fill it up with water. This is your on off. Just turn it around, your little blue light will come on, and you'll hear it when it's boiled. Just be a little bit careful, but you don't want to spill it. There's a little handle here, just make sure that's out. That's your plug connector, which is just a three pin socket, which you can plug into there, or you can plug it into any one of these two here. So that's your kettle. When you're finished, just get rid of the water, make sure it's empty, and you can just collapse it back down again, and there you have it. We just keep it in that box to stop it rattling about. We've got for those of you who like coffee, and you're a coffee connoisseur like me and Eleanor are, we've got here a little Nescafe, wrecking the joint. We've got a Nespresso Krups coffee maker. Again, this won't work off grid. It's a 240 volt, but we have put a cafetiere in, so you can still have good coffee. That's housed up here. So this is your cafetiere. We've got some coffee in there for you as well. So once you've boiled your pan of water, you can still have a good coffee. However, if you are on a hookup, these are fantastic. We also supply you with some pods, some coffee pods as well. There's enough for a few days there. If you do run out, you can get these from Aldi or Lidl. I think you can get them from Lidl. They're their own brand, and they're not as expensive as the Nespresso brand. And like I say, any Lidl or Aldi will sell those. This is dead easy to work. If you just bring the video around here, Eleanor, to release this water canister, you just put that up and it pops out. You then fill that with water, put the lid back on, house it back in. Once you're plugged in, you press the top button. Those lights will flash green, those two, until it's heated the element up. Once they stop flashing, it's ready to use. And all you do is lift that up. You get one of these pods. They'll only go in one way, so you just pop them in there, push that down, and then press you can have a small Nespresso or a larger one, whichever you prefer. Press that button, obviously get your cup under there, and it will release the red hot, lovely coffee. We normally, if you want a bigger, stronger brew, we normally use 2 of these for one cup. Now to go with it, again, we have, this will only work, this is a frother, a milk frother. So we're trying to get you to the stage where you can have a lovely cappuccino. So this will froth the milk up. It's dead easy to use, but again, it will only work on 240 volts. So you do have to be on a hookup. So you basically, this is your heat stand. That goes on there. You just plug it into your 240 volt supply. You pop your milk in here. There is a line which it tells you to go up, a minimum and a maximum. Don't go above the maximum, otherwise the milk will just flood over the top. So just be mindful of that line inside there. You can see it, and just go in between the minimum and the maximum. So once your milk's in, pop the lid back on, and then on here there are 1, 2, 3, 4 settings, and that determines how hot you want the milk. First setting, obviously the hottest. The last setting will go to blue, and that's actually cold, but it just froths it up. So we normally go to number 2, that's about right, and it takes a little less time as well, but it's entirely up to you. So when you want to go to set it to number 1, you press once. If you want to set it to number 2, you press twice quickly, and same 3 times if you want it to number 3. And then when the milk is ready, when it's reached the required temperature and the right frothiness, this will give you 1 signal beep, and that tells you that it's done and it's ready to pour, and you'll have a beautiful cappuccino. So that's your milk frother, and we just put this back in. Again, we try to put things back in the boxes because it stops them rattling about, and it saves a bit of space as well. So I'll pop that back in there like that, and that's your milk frother and your coffee machine. Housed in this section as well, or you've got some plates, some plastic bowls, we've got a chopping board, you've got some cling film and baker foil, and you've got a collapsible dishwasher bowl here. These are great if you don't want to wash in this sink, you want to wash your plates, because a lot of campsites have a place where they have a kitchen station where you can actually wash all your pots and pans. So most people just pop them in one of these. These are great, they just pop out, and then you can just put everything in there and take it down, clean it, and then bring it back, and then it just folds back, and it's a great space saver. And that just housed in there with your chopping board. I'll pop everything back. So again, it's always nice to keep everything in order because you don't want too much clutter, and also this helps keep things in place as well, the boxes, so it just keeps those plates nice and stacked. So that's everything there above that. We've done the hob. Coming back here, we're going to the sink. This is great. You can use this as a drainer. You can put stuff on there and it'll just drain through, or we normally just put a tea towel on there. It's heat proof as well, so you can put hot stuff on there. It just folds up as well if you want it completely out of the way. It's great. You've got your sink here. So we've got a little plug, we've got a little dishwasher these are great. These have got washing up liquid already in, and it just comes through there as you apply pressure, so a nice little scourer. So we supply that with the van. This is your on-off tap. As I said earlier, it is a mixer tap, and make sure you've got a bit of hot and cold. If it's in the middle, you're usually getting both through, because you don't want to be putting it on hot. If you've got the heat on, it will burn your hands. I've done it, it's quite hot. So you can, not sure where you can probably hear the pump now. You'll hear a noise when you turn the tap on. You'll hear a noise, and that's the pump pumping water through. So don't be worried about that. Nothing's breaking or anything. It is natural. It's just pumping water through as you turn it on and off. It works on pressure, so as soon as you turn it off, it shuts the pressure off and shuts the pump down. So that's your on-off mixer tap for the sink. Coming back to this is your fridge. So I'll show you the fridge. It's got a little lock here for when you're in transit, so you don't want the fridge door flying open and your eggs going down the main aisle. So you do need to keep that way when you're driving, just to make sure that fridge door won't open. However, when you're parked up and you want to get in it, turn it that way, you can now get into the fridge. So as you can see, it's quite a decent sized fridge. You've got your room for your milk bottles and stuff like that, and anything you want to pack in there. So that's your fridge area. So I'll now show you how you can switch the fridge on. You've got two options on this. You can, if you're on a hookup, you can use it purely on electric, and that's the best way to do because you're saving gas again. However, if you're off grid, you can use it on gas. So you're on off this. Your marker is here. When that arrow is up at the top, it's completely off. So if we were on a hookup, you can see a little plug there, little plug symbol. So we would just simply turn that. Once you've got your hookup already in and you know that power's coming through to the van, turn that onto the electric, and that's as simple as that. Your fridge is now on 240 volt mains. However, if you're off grid, you now want to turn this button right to the bottom, and you can see a little gas flame. So make sure the arrow's pointing fully down, pointing to that gas flame, and then we move across here. These are your controls for your gas, and it's a little bit excuse me, it's a little bit like the oven. It's a push and hold. So sorry, that was on then, I'll turn it off. So it's push, turn and hold. So just keep that held in for a few seconds, and then this is your ignition button to ignite the gas. So once you've held it for a few seconds, press that firmly in and you'll hear it pop. I don't know if you heard that. Sometimes it takes a couple of goes for it to get started. Now you'll see this little indicator here. There's a little red line in the white, and then there's a green bit there. Now that's telling me, although we heard that pop, it's not ignited. It's still in the white. This needs to move over to the green. So we need to just press the ignition again, and it popped there. Can you see it moving now? The needle's starting to move into the green. We now know it's ignited and your fridge is ready to go. And then just release the button, and this just determines how cold you want it. So you can go very, very cold, or you can just have it sort of medium. It's entirely up to you. But as we can see, that's starting to move into the middle of the green, and that's now telling us that is now working. It's working off gas, and it will take about an hour to get to its required temperature. You can, when you go out of your van, you can leave that on. You can leave the fridge on, that's no problem. However, when you are traveling, that fridge will go off because you have to turn the gas off. But it's a sealed unit, so it will stay cold for several hours. So by the time you get to your next site, it'll still be cold for you. And we have tested this. It's a very cold fridge. It does what it says. Okay. So coming back here now, we'll go into the shower and toilet area. So this is a plunger button. These sometimes there is a knack to this. Sometimes it sticks, so you just got to give it a little spring like that. Don't be afraid of that. Just push it in and spring it out, because sometimes they just stick a little bit. I mean, it's working fine now. Occasionally, if you're on a bit of a tilt, it can stick. If it sticks, just push in and flick it. That there, it's stuck there. You see, push it in and oops. He says that always happens, doesn't it, when you're on a video? I was at the wrong angle. You'll find camper vans can be a little bit fickle, and it's just working the things out and getting used to it. I was at the wrong angle there. Normally I'm at this side, so my pressure wasn't right. So I just, again, there, just flick it. Okay. So coming into the toilet area, we have a little mat here, which just goes onto the floor to stop you wetting the floor when you come out of the shower, and it also keeps your feet nice and warm. So coming back into here, this is a very compact space, and it's a warm day today as well. So here we have, this is for your toiletries, so you can put a few basic toiletries in there. Both sides slide open, so you can get access from both sides. You've got a little bit more space here for your toiletries. We've got a little bit of Sanitec stuff here for your hands and so on. As Eleanor pointed out there's a light above you. We also here have one of these, which is a magnetic light. Now this, when this doesn't run with the lights on the van, it's a motion sensor, and this is really for night time. If you get up in the middle of the night and you don't want to be sort of faffing about trying to find the lights, as soon as you walk in here, that light will come on. It will stay on for 30 seconds. If that's not long enough, just move your hand and it'll come back on again. After 30 seconds, it switches itself off. So these are great at night time, saves you just, you know, faffing about with the lights. And that's just housed down there, and it also can be recharged. So it's a little charger there, a little bit like a mobile, like an Android phone. That plugs into there, and then you just put it into a USB port and it will charge. And we leave you the leads in. We'll show you when you come to pick the van up, we'll show you where the leads are. They last a long time, but if it ever did run out, you know you can recharge it. We have a little air freshener there, which you just push and it shoots out fresh air. Well, freshener. It's like a linen air. We've got a hook here. These are quite good. They're a suction, so you can move them about. Just put a credit card or a thin card behind to take it off and put it somewhere else. But these are great for hanging your wet coats on. There is another one on the side of the van. But if you've been out, there's just one there, which you can move that if you want to. You don't have to have it there. We use that for our waste, so we just have a little bag to put our rubbish in, and we just hang it there and then take it away when it's full. But again, it's up to you what you do with that. But these are great if you've been out hiking and it's been a bit wet, your clothes and coats are wet, you can hang them on there and they'll just drip. And because it's a shower and wet room, it won't do any harm to the floor. It'll just go into there and they'll dry off quite nicely. So that's this bit. Here, housed here is your sink. This just drops down. You've got your mixer tap here, which just pulls out, that pulls out, and then when you want water, that just lifts up. You can hear the pump kicking in again, that's normal. Push that down to stop it. When you've finished doing what you want to do, push that back, keep that down, make sure that's not up, push that back too, otherwise your pump will stay on. And then that water, if you simply just tilt this, you can see the water in there, just simply tilt that, and the water now has gone away into that waste hog. It goes down its own pipe and outside of the van. So it's a very clean, contained sink unit. Moving down, we've got the toilet. So this has got, it's already got the blue chemical in for you, so you don't need to put that in straight away. Once that's full, I'll show you how to remove the cassette and empty it and put new liquid in. But this is your toilet. Obviously you've got a lid like a normal toilet. You've got your toilet roll here, and just at the side here you've got a little flush. That little blue button there, you just push it. You don't have to push it too hard. You'll see a green light come on, and it's now sending water round there just to flush it. And then to release it into the toilet cassette and out of sight, just do that, shut that, and that stops any smells coming back. And that's now shut off from the cassette. So it's just opening it there like that. Now when that's full, you'll see a little red light. This here, when I press this, you see a green light. At the top you'll see a red light come on when the cassette is full. At that point you need to remove the cassette and get rid of the waste, otherwise you won't be able to use the toilet. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. And so just to finish off in the shower room, here at this side is your shower. Your mixer tap is down here. I always say check where that is before you turn it on, because you don't want scalding water hitting you, nor do you want freezing cold hitting you, because that'll make you jump as well. So just turn that, or you can even sort of hold it away and just get it to the right temperature before you put it above there. That's entirely up to you. But just bear in mind, if it's on full hot, it is hot and it will burn you. So that's the mixer tap, and then you've got a little shower curtain here. That just comes across here, and that's to protect this wooden door from getting any water on it, and it will warp the wood, so that's why that's there. So that's your curtain shower. We normally just tuck that out of the way behind there. That just tucks behind there. Probably a bit better than I've done that, but you get the idea. So it's just out of your way when you want to just use the toilet. As you can see, just down here, if you just come forward a bit, Eleanor, as you can see, that's the hole where the water goes down. That's the plug hole. So as I was saying earlier about having it level, if you're too far up, the water's just going to flood to the back and it's not going to get out. So you do need to be level so the water can run away. So just be mindful of that. You've got a couple of hooks up here, and you've got the mirror on there. Okay, so that's that done. So there's your toilet. So we'll get to the worst bit. This is the toilet cassette, and you would only be taking this out, of course, when it's full, which is usually the man's job. Don't know why, but it is. So this little release here, that goes up, that opens up, and this is your cassette. Now inside the toilet, if you notice that where I shut it to, I'll just show you again because it's quite crucial. Before you can release that cassette, you must make sure that inside the toilet here, that it's shut. Like, that's open now, it must be shut like that, otherwise that cassette won't come out, and that's for obvious reasons, because if it did come out open, you'd have spillage everywhere, and we don't really want that. So if you find when you're trying to get that cassette out, when you're trying to get that cassette out, I've shut it, yeah. If you find it's not coming, then just double check that has been shut in the toilet, because it should come out easily if that's closed. If it's not closed, it won't come out at all. You will break the cassette, and they're about £200 if you break those. So we now want to release the toilet cassette. So under here is a little green button, a little green lever. You just push it up and then just gently pull it out. As you can see, that's sliding out easily, so we know now that that toilet inside is shut. And you just lift it up. You've got little handles here that pushes forward, and a little bit like your travel case, that comes out, and you just walk across the site to find out where the chemical toilet waste disposal is. Every site has one. Sometimes it's a good idea to check when you're checking into the site where to put it. If you're off grid, you can use any public toilet to dispose of this, or you can use a campsite. Campsites will let you dispose of it. Some will let you do it free, some have a small minimal charge, probably about £5 to £10. It's not advisable to just tip it, you know, wild, because that's not good at all. It's not good for the environment. So you do need to just be aware of that. Obviously, if you're on a campsite, they do, in with the price, they have a disposal unit, and they'll show you where it is. So once you've got to the unit, you simply pull this up, unscrew this, and then you put that out of the way. Make sure that doesn't go on top, or otherwise it could fall into the chemical waste, and then you really are snookered. So make sure it's well out of the way of where you're pouring the waste, preferably on the ground. And then you just tip it up, and literally just tip the waste out. Nearly got it all over Eleanor there. And then once it's out, usually they have a little hose pipe just to rinse it round. Once you've done that, you then just need to fill that up with the chemical blue, which I showed you in the garage, the white bottle. So just fill that up, pop that in, and that's all you need, and that's good then. And once you've got that all done, you're ready to pop that back in. So it's all been emptied. It is a little bit tight, so you've just got to be careful with it. Like everything in vans, it's very fragile. And just push it in slowly until you hear it click. And then if you pull forward now, it's clicked in, it's not moving anywhere. That's it, job done. Shut the door, and your toilet's ready to use again. So it's as simple as that. So that's your toilet. Coming back here now, on this side down here, if Ella can just point the camera down here, we've got two controls here. That's your two more USB ports, which will charge your phones again, and then this is for your water. It will tell you how much you've got left in. Now we send the van out not quite full, it's just below full, because we don't, while you're driving, we don't want any splash. So it's just below, so you've probably got about 70 litres in. And then if you press this button, and you see the two amber lights have come on, so it's not quite gone to green. When you're on site, you can fill it right to the brim, and that green light at the top will come on. Now, as and when you use your water, those lights will go down, so it'll go from 2 amber to 1 amber. Then when it gets to red, that's when you need to refill the water tank. It's telling you it's almost empty. And of course, if it's empty or almost empty, you'll have no hot water or any water at all. So it's quite important to just keep an eye on that. Like I said earlier, 70 to 80 litres will last you a couple of days. That's assuming 2 people are having 1 shower a day and you're just doing basic washing pots and pans. Okay, if we move to the other side, this is our gas heater for heating the van at night time. So if it's getting a little bit chilly, or you can actually use it as a cool fan as well in summer, just to circulate the air. It's not actually air conditioning, but it will circulate the air to a certain extent. But we mainly use this for a heater for those chilly nights when you just want to take the chill off. So as you can see, it's in the off position now. First position is your basic fan, and you do need the auxiliary button on that panel that I showed you earlier. That needs to be on before this will work. So if you find this isn't working, check the panel and make sure the auxiliary AUX is pressed down. So as you can probably hear that now, that's a cool fan just blowing, but we don't want that, we want gas. So you just move it, there's a little gas symbol there, just move it to that, and it takes about 30 or 40 seconds for the gas to ignite. So now we've got it on there, and this is a thermostat here, so I've set it, because it's a hot day today, I've set it quite high. If you set it lower, it won't come on if the temperature's already at that temperature, because it's saying I'm already warm, I don't need to come on. So I've set it down to the bottom one, and you should hear the gas, and there'll be a little green light there. Can you see that green light's come on now, just in this top corner here? That's telling me now the gas has ignited, and in about 5 to 10 minutes you'll have a really nice warm air coming through there. And trust me, you'll not need it on long. It's quite a good heater, is that, and you'll soon be turning it off. You can turn it down, of course, as well. You can turn it down, different temperatures, and then when you want to switch it off, straight to the top, and that's off. You see the green light's now gone off. That's telling us it's cut the gas off. The fan will keep running for about a minute after you turn it off. That's just a safety precaution to cool it down. So don't worry if you switched it too often, you can still hear the fan. It's simply just cooling down, and it'll go off on its own after about a minute. Okay, so that's the heater. We're nearly there now. Coming back here, this is the lounge area, and at night time will become your bed area. So whilst you're using it like it is now as a lounge, we've got this great lagoon table here. You can alter the height and you can alter the angle of these. You can have them virtually anywhere. They're absolutely fantastic. So, you know, if you want to have a bit of breakfast on it or whatever, you can do that. And then at night time, just push it into that position, and then we want to release that because we don't want this here at night. Obviously this is now going to become the bed. So we've got a little button here, just pull that out. It's on like a ratchet, and then we just turn it down. Now because we can't go full 360 degrees there, we then need to pull this out, turn it back so we're not retightening it, and then go again. Pull it out, turn it back, and then and as you can see, that's getting quite loose now. Once it's loose, that just simply slides out. And what you would do with that then is just put it at the front cab. You don't need this. You can actually take this I'll turn it that way. You can actually take this off as well, so if you wanted that, so it's more easier to store. And you would normally store that up at the front or just under the bed if you want to. That's entirely up to you. I'll just put it outside the van now, because now I'm going to show you how the bed assembles. So we'll just move this out of the way. So this is the bedding area. Make sure that's out of the way. We'll get rid of this. So this is really simple. It's a bit like a little jigsaw puzzle. Normally move the cushions just out of the way while you assemble it. You can do what you want with those afterwards. I'm told that's a woman thing, cushions. Not really a guy thing, but there you go. They do look nice, I must admit. So what we need to do now, we need to get a section here, which is there, into this middle, and this is housed here, and it simply pulls out and it goes into that ridge there, and that's it. Eleanor, if you can just pull your camera down here, you can just see there is a little bit of the plastic cut out there, and that's so it fits into this ridge here. If you have it the other way around, that will rub up and down there and it makes a noise. It will keep you awake at night. So you need to have it just like it is there. So once you've got that, these all just fold down. You can have them anywhere you want. You can have that at the top if you want, that in the middle, and you just push them down. They are a little bit tight, but they are designed that way so that they don't move about when you're on them. And voila, there's your bed. We supply a mattress topper, and for those who want a little bit more comfort, we also have a memory foam mattress which fits this perfectly, because quite a lot of people, once they've made the bed, will keep that up fixed. That's entirely up to you, it's your choice, but it means you don't have to make the bed every night, it's already made. So a lot of people like to do that. If not, you just do the reverse of what I've done and everything assembles back into its place. People lie that way. I think it's 6 foot by 4, so it's a nice, especially when it's got the mattress on, it's a really nice comfy bed. And you've got the TV there. This TV can also, it has a HDMI cable, so you can hook it up to a laptop or you know, some device where you've got films stored on it, so you can watch films through the TV. We also supply you with a Bose speaker, which we'll show you on the day, which gives you that extra bass, and it's like a little bit like surround sound, and that also plugs into the TV. Or you can just use it to play Spotify through your phone if you want to. It's a superb sound, and it's battery powered, so you can even take it outside the van. So we'll show you all that on the day when you come. And then up above here, you've got more locker space for clothes. We have a little projector in here as well, which again we'll show you how that operates on the day because it's a little bit technical. So it's a little portable projector, which again you can use through your phone. It's got an HDMI lead which will connect to an iPhone. So if you've downloaded stuff, if you've got the Netflix app or Prime app and you've downloaded stuff on that, you can run that through your phone, through the projector, and onto a screen here which just pulls down, and you've got a big screen which comes down to about here when my big head's not in the way. So that just pulls right down, and you've got a full screen there to watch it on. So you've got TV, or you can watch that from the front. Yeah, Ellen is just saying there, you can sit in those seats and watch it from the front, or you can just lie that way a little bit diagonally, you can still see it. So you've got a projector or a TV, so you've got a choice there. And then also this is the other skylight, which is exactly the same as the front one. You've got your opening settings there, so you can have it just slightly open, right to the back you've got it fully open. And again, just make sure that's right over the top of that to make sure it's locked. And you've got your blackout blinds there. Okay, I'll show you. We also have every single window has similar blackout blinds to that, and I'll show you how they work. So we've got them on the back, got the back door here, so they simply just pull down, dead simple, and that will black out all the light. Same on this side. We've got 2 on the side windows, and then slightly different on the front cab, which I'll come round to the front and show you now. So we've got to block the, so Ellen's just showing you the side window there. The same. We've got one exactly the same on the door, it's just pulled down. They're very, very simple and very effective. Okay, and then I'll just, if Ellen can just follow me out, I'll show you the blackout blinds for the front cab. So these are housed in this cassette here. You've got a little pincher control there. So at the moment they're locked in, pinch them down, and they're very delicate these. You've just got to pull them out slowly and just send them across until they fit, and it's as simple as that. And the front one, similar idea again. You've just got 2 there. You've got 1 on the other side, which will pull out. And when the 2 meet, there's a little magnetic catch. They'll just clip together magnetically. So they'll meet in the middle, and that's it. It's as simple as that. And when you're finished, again, just let them go back on their own. You don't need to force them. They are very delicate. Push them in, that's it. Same with this one. You've just got to ease it back slowly. As you can see, it's a funny angle. So you've just got to ease that back, try and get that straight. Make sure that those 2 are going at the same time, and then just make sure it just slots into there. And it's as simple as that. They're a great idea. A lot easier than the old-fashioned ones that we used to have. Up above the cab there, you've got some space. We've got a first aid kit there. and that's there for you to put what you want in there, your sunglasses or whatever. Plenty of space there. You've got on these little armrests are movable, so they go up and down. You've got one on each side. So what we'll do now, we're going to come to the third bed, which is suitable for a small child.
Up to 10 maybe?
Maybe up to 10, yeah. So this, just wrecking the coffee machine there. So what we've got here, this is your lounge table, but this lounge table is portable, it will come out. So what we need to do is, as you can see, it slides about there, so you can position it anywhere you want. But underneath here, underneath the table, so these two hinges here have release catches underneath. So you need to flick them forward, and then that just simply comes off. And then you've got a leg there, got a button there, that just goes down. And so you can then just put this out of the way somewhere. We normally just put it in the front of the cab, because at night time you're not going to be using that. So this is where a child would sleep. So you would turn that around, so you've got that fully round. I would tilt it a little bit forward, you know, so you can get it as level as possible. And then this just tilts up, and then you've got this goes on here. You move the cushion, and there is your bed. So as I say, a small child would, you know, up 10, maybe 12, depending on size, can comfortably sit there. You can move that out completely if you want and have pillows there, or you can use that as an extra foot rest. You can play around with that. So if you took that out, for example, you will have a little bit more room there, and just put your pillows at the top end. And the seat belt, you just took that out of the way underneath, so that would just go under the cushions, out the way, so you're not lying on that. And that's your bed. You would put your mattress protector that way, and your sheets on, and you've got that bed there. You can leave that up, but then you're reducing the lounge area. So each day you would just go the opposite of what we've done, pull that out. There's two little levers under there which just pull, a bit difficult to see, but they just pull forward. That won't go down until they pull forward. And also be mindful of when don't put too much weight on this area. If you're coming off the bed, come off sideways rather than putting all your weight on there. It's mainly designed to take your legs, but not the full weight of your torso. So just be mindful of that. It is very sturdy, but you know, if you bounced on it, it could break. So just be mindful of that. Like anything, everything's very delicate in a camper van. So there's two little catches underneath. They just pull back and push down, and then just push it in, and it clips, and it's not going anywhere. Then it's solid. You've also got another little cabinet here for storage. You can put what you want in there, bottles and whatever, wine bottles or whatever. But you've got storage there as well. And then you've also, a bit like a house but a smaller version, you've got a little electric trip meter there. So if your power suddenly tripped, I would just check under there, make sure none of them have gone down. If they have, just flick them back up. Sometimes a sudden surge can do it. I've never known it in this van, but just in case it did. If something had tripped and you check that and the buttons were all still up, none of those had tripped, chances are it's tripped on the outside, and that's the campsite's responsibility. So you would need to go where your hookup point is and just check the trip switches there, because they're quite mean and they have them on a very low amperage. So if you use a hairdryer or something, it can sometimes trip them. So just check that. It's not the van, it's actually the outside side. And that's pretty much it for inside. I think we've gone through everything there. Yeah, we've done outside. Obviously on the handover we'll go through everything again, so don't worry. You can use this as a reference point. We do advise you watch this video before you pick the van up, because it makes your handover a lot quicker and a lot easier, and you can be on your way. But don't worry, if there's anything you're not sure about, we're here to help. we're just at the end of a phone. Even if you're on site and you're struggling, or you forgot something, or you can't get the phone, or your batteries are dead on your phone, you can't get the video up, just give us a shout and we'll guide you through it. But we hope this will be very, very helpful and very useful, and we look forward to meeting you at Escape Motorhomes.